Let's go.
Hello and welcome everyone to the For the Geeks podcast for
What are you doing?
someday, in some month, in some year, somewhere,
In some
time,
butthole.
in someone's ass.
Yes.
I'm
Nice
your
and
host,
deep.
I'm your host, Johnny. Joining me today is Seeger. Another two
What
for
up?
episode. Everyone else is busy, so you get us today again. Hope you guys enjoy it. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about all sorts of fun things, like Star Wars news,
Yes.
some other information concerning a certain movie about a certain Italian plumber, and
Yes.
if God willing, maybe some video game stuff eventually. But for now, thanks for tuning in. Wherever you're listening at, on any podcast service, on any system, on any place, thank you for tuning in. We record this episode once every week or so. Our timeline just gets worse and worse. There is no consistency, and it sucks ass sometimes.
Like my streaming.
But you know what? We're here. We're trying. I think that counts for something.
Yeah.
But if you think we're doing a good job counting for something, go ahead and follow us. There's a link below, a link tree. Go click it. It's got all of our socials. It's got all of our things at YouTube, at Twitch, and everywhere else that you can go and click and follow us and give us a little bit of support. Just a tiny wee bit of support. Just to make us a little bit bigger. Remember, everyone, that 1 inch counts a lot. So
it does.
Without further ado.
Who's a dude?
You a dude. You're a dude.
Okay.
We're all dudes. There's no girls here. Obviously, everyone's a dude here.
You're a dude. He's a dude. She's a dude. We're all dudes. Yeah. Anyway.
Reminds me of the I Am Ninja stuff from back in the day on YouTube.
Oh, but that's Good Burger.
Good Burger.
The one I was quoting. Keenan, Kel was saying it was either in Good Burger or was in Keenan Kel's show.
Speaking of Good Burger, actually, you just reminded me. How do you feel about that sequel coming out?
I'm excited. The first movie was awesome. I love they're a great comedic duo. I fucking love Keenan and Kel. It's unfortunate that they had some drama for years, but I'm happy like they finally squashed it and they came together so they can make an awesome movie purely for nostalgia and, just being awesome as a team again.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
So I'm excited for that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited for Geek Burger.
So what did you want to talk about? You were very adamant about something. Tell us what you've been up to.
Oh, yeah. So
it's been a while.
Myself. I've been toys. So recently I bought my wallet got a hole in it because, I keep buying toys. Mm-hmm. So I recently bought a new diorama I got it for $70 thanks to my friend's discount.
I could give you diarrhea for free.
No, that's diorama. Okay. I already have diarrhea. Diorama, which it basically looks like the back alley of like a Tatooine spaceport or whatever. So it looks super cool. I have sand that I can use on the floor to make the figures look better.
Do you have like literal sand, like literal actual sand?
I used to have sand. There used to be sandbags on my old boxing bag stand to hold it down, but then we sold it. So now we just have a sandbag. So I can just pull the sand out and put it in the diorama.
Where's the sandbag located?
It's sitting outside in the sun right now.
Okay.
I
was just curious because I was just like, you just have sand in your room chilling just to hang out or whatever.
In the future, I'd like to design my room to have diorama shit everywhere. That'd be perfect. But that could help. It might not be the right sand because this is literally sand. I mean, compared to like figurine sand, which is like super fine and it just looks super soft. I might have to buy that instead.
So it kind of like matches in with the scale of it. If you take pictures of real sand, it looks kind of like block. Like you can see the rocks.
If it's that close to a photo versus us standing on sand, it looks like smooth and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I get you.
Because we're bigger. But yeah, so I have that. Mm-hmm. And I also bought I recently got a Mara Jade figure, which is not canonical, Luke Skywalker's wife. Mm-hmm. Who is a really cool character, Mara Jade Skywalker. And then I also bought this Mandalorian multi-pack, which had Mando, Ahsoka, and Grogu all in one. So that was worth it because it gave me all the accessories for the characters, which is what I needed. Because unfortunately, when it comes to figure buying, sometimes it's like, okay, I want the Darksaber, but I have to buy Moff Gideon to get the Darksaber. They don't just individually sell
That makes sense.
the Darksaber. I'd have to go to a third-party site and buy it that way.
And they're going to mark up the price on it anyways.
Yeah, they'll be like, this is $10. Like, the fuck? I'll just buy the figure.
You should just buy the figure
anyway.
Moff Gideon's
I will.
Cool.
He is. And then I went to eBay to buy 3D printed ones because I don't have a 3D printer. And like I ordered it from like India or whatever, but basically they 3D printed clutter. So like crates and barrels and big objects that could take up the frame so it looks more believable instead of just an empty diorama set. And then speaking of figures, because I'm, Star Wars, we're talking about Star Wars. Star Wars Celebration is happening this weekend. For those of you who don't know, it's the biggest convention, a Star Wars convention in the world.
It is.
This year it's in London. Last year was Anaheim that I went to. And probably the following year it'll either be in Chicago or it'll be in Florida. And then the year after that it'll be in Chicago or Florida, and then it'll come back to SoCal. That's how they do it. They rotate 4 cities.
That's good. That's nice because that makes it easier for the international communities to be able to pull in revenue into their cities of those places, and on top of that, be able to kind of like move around and get a different setting at each time. You're not always like stuck in the same stale place.
Yeah, but I bring it up because there was a Hasbro Pulse panel for the Black Series figures, which is what I buy. They're the 6-inch figures, and they released a shit ton that's going to really burn a deep hole in my wallet.
Oh, really?
So they released that they're working on, there's 6 new figures that are in the process of being made. You have Battle Damage General Grievous from Battlefront 2 with the 2 lightsabers and the damaged chest with fire inside after Obi-Wan shot him. Then you have Obi-Wan Kenobi, the 4th figure from the Kenobi TV show, with his final outfit that you see in the last scene of the show, which is white with like a brown overcoat and goggles when he walks up to Luke and says, hello there. Then you have Force Ghost Liam Neeson. You have Pre Vizsla, the previous owner of the Darksaber from the Clone Wars. Then you have Battle Damage Darth Vader, finally getting a 6-inch lower quality version, because all the other versions are $300 and up for and they're 12-inch scale. And then you have the Clone Commander Appo, which is from the Clone Wars as well. So those 6 I'm going to buy. Plus, they're having the Force Ghosts of Anakin, Ben Kenobi, and Yoda at the end of Return of the Jedi. Those figures have already been made. They just need to be sent out.
I have a question.
And whatnot. Yeah.
How do you make a Force Ghost figure? Like, how do you make it so that you can see through them? Is it literally just a turquoise tinted character?
No. What you so basically, I need to throw this up here in the video, but basically, I'll send
if
it
you look
to you.
right here.
I'll throw it on Discord. Yeah. For now, I'll send it here in Discord. It looks like this. They're wearing see-through blue clothing. So it looks they're
so are they naked underneath?
That's all they can really. No, they're not. Look at the photo.
Oh, you sent it. Oh, if I do that, we're gonna lose. I'm gonna lose camera. Where's my phone?
Yeah, just look on your phone. If I go to Yak Face, Yak Face is awesome. If I go to his Twitter, I can find a higher quality version, because the guy who actually takes pictures of these gets it posted on the web. Here, I'll send a better one.
I can see it. It kind of looks a little.
Here, look. Here's a better one. This is a higher quality photo.
Yeah,
that's how they do Force Ghosts in the figure lines. They do it like that.
The Yoda one looks about okay. There we go. There, that's what I'm missing. Okay.
Yeah, see, that looks good.
The heads are like solid, and then the rest of the bodies are like see through. That's what I figured.
Yeah,
I figured it would be something like that. That's what I meant by like it's gonna be turquoise tinted.
Yeah, it was cool. And then the next one I'm really excited for. Here, I'll send this one also to you. They actually, so there's 2 models of Cad Bane in circulation already. One's from Clone Wars. One is from one is from Bad Batch. And now I just sent it in Discord again. This is the Book of Boba Fett live action version of Cad Bane. And I'm really excited to buy this one because I want to use him with the Book of Boba Fett figure that I have. And also, let's see who else. Black Chrysanthemum also has a figure that I pre-ordered that's coming out later this year, which is great because before this figure, the deluxe figure of Black Chrysanthemum, they had just a black version of Chewbacca's model, which pissed off everyone because Hasbro was being a cheapskate. Like, this is a different. Chrysanthemum is buff. Chewie is skinny. There is a distinct difference in these two Wookiees, and Hasbro was cutting fucking corners and shit, and everyone
basically just looked like Chewie.
Yeah, it was a black Chewie. It's like, what the fuck is this, Hasbro? It was stupid. So I'm excited for that, and I'm also excited. Here's another one. This is the Rebels model / Battlefront 2 skin model of the Old Master variant of Darth Maul, meaning this is Darth Maul at the end of his time. This is exactly what he looks like, and it's fucking cool. I can't wait to get that model as well and try to recreate the Twin Sun scene, which I won't spoil for anyone who hasn't seen Rebels. The only spoilers I care about are Star Wars related. Fuck everyone else. Or Lord of the Rings. But that is what I'm really excited for in terms of the figures. On top of a whole bunch of other Hasbro releases that are coming out, like the N1 Starfighter, the Vintage Series collections coming out, the Mandalorian Silver version. They have a new Imperial Guard Black Series model, which is great, with a removable cloak. A new R2-D2 that looks like it should be a deluxe figure, but is not, which is crazy. A new Darth Vader with a removable helmet, as well as a brand new Luke Skywalker figure from Return of the Jedi, because this is the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So this year, I don't know when this Luke is coming out. It says pre-order available April 11th, which I'll pre-order. I don't know when the release is, because I'm already getting the Mandalorian version of Luke, which is the Jedi Master Luke, according to lore. And the Return of the Jedi one is the Jedi Knight version, where he doesn't have robes. He just has black leather and like an open collar right here. But I'm really excited for these toys and stuff. The only couple things I need to make my scene better is to add the correct sand, and I need a fog machine, because even though I have...
Can't you buy those for like super cheap?
I can. It's like $30, and then I have to pay like $20 for like a bottle of fog or whatever. And what's cool about the fog machine,
like you have a little bottle with fucking cloud inside of it.
That's like a magic potion, like canned rainstorm. Here you go. No, but it's cool because with the fog machines, when it comes to toys versus like, okay, I need this on stage or at a party, you just you press it for like 1 second to give a little spurt. That's enough fog to just last you for like an hour. It'll just sit there in the scene if there's no wind current in your house for whatever reason. And yeah, that's enough fog to carry.
Like heavy.
Yeah, it's really thick, which is what I need for shots, because I like having that dynamic lighting, either it being like a sunset or like a overhead light or some shit.
Yeah.
So that stuff I'm looking forward to. And that's what I'm into, looking at that stuff, checking out the new Star Wars content, like the Ahsoka trailer.
Oh yeah.
Looks fucking great.
If
you guys
cool.
if you listeners haven't watched any of the animated series because you're using the stupid logic of, I'm an adult, why do I have to watch animation? You're missing out on some of the best storytelling that Lucas and Filoni put out there.
Yeah.
The benefits of using animation over live action, you don't pay the characters, you pay the voice actors, and the voices are already there. You don't have to pay the characters to react. You just pay the animator and be like, scrap this animation, let's do this again, versus paying $1 million a second for a live action actor to do something or whatever. That's a drastic
over dramatization, but I get what you mean.
Yeah. That's why Filoni likes animation better. He can go back, edit it perfectly, and then he can send it out, versus calling back an actor and going through all those fucking obstacles just to get them back on screen or whatever, or phone it in, because I'm pretty sure Pedro Pascal does that anyway.
I was going to say, Filoni is actually directing one of the episodes of Ahsoka, right? As well as one of the ones for Skeleton Crew, no?
Yeah, he's definitely doing it for Ahsoka. He came up on the list of directors because Ahsoka's his baby. That's his everything.
Makes sense.
And for those listeners who don't know, okay, Filoni's also direct 3 new movies got announced. There are no dates, which is great because that was Disney's first problem with Marvel and Star Wars was announcing dates but before a script.
Yeah.
But now they just announced, okay, we have 3 ideas on the table. First idea is, I think it's called Dawn of the Force, or it's around that. 25,000 years before any Star Wars lore. Nobody knows anything about it because no lore exists in Star Wars past the Old Republic. So it's a fresh slate. It'll be technically, it'll probably be about the creation of the Sith, because the Sith, according to story anywhere, the Sith were the first species to possess the Force. So, and the Jedi came much later. So this will probably just be about ancient species discovering the Force. My theory is a bunch of species came to this galaxy and discovered the Force, and it imbued itself within those species, thus creating a whole chain of Force users. That's my theory on how it could go. It'll probably be different, but that makes the most sense to me.
Do you think it's going to follow the story of the first Jedi, or is it going to follow the story of the Sith learning the Force?
It'll probably be, well, I mean, we don't even know who the first Jedi was.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll probably be about the Sith with the Force, because most likely when it comes, if you look at history or anything at all, what happens when you find something new? You want it for yourself and you want to control people with it or whatever. I mean, what is that? The perfect example, The Gods Must Be Crazy, that movie where these natives in this, I forgot where the hell it is, some jungle, an airplane, somebody throws a glass bottle out of an airplane and it lands in this indigenous tribe, and they've never seen it. So they use it as a tool, and then they start fighting over it because they want it. It's new and special.
Yeah.
That's my theory. That's how it's going to go for the Dawn of the Force, because people are like, oh, I have this power should belong to me. And then that's going to create the building blocks for the Sith and the Jedi. So it'll probably follow something like that. Do you have anything more to say on that? Or?
Well, my thought on it is that in most likelihood, it'll probably be a story about the first Jedi. So I'm assuming it's going to be that the first Jedi comes under whatever the rule of the Sith is. And just off of guessing, it's probably going to be something about, it's some slave or whatever being controlled by the Sith overlords and decided to stand up one day. It turns into one of those like another revolution rebellion kind of thing, but this person's special because they can do what their masters can do. We found a child of prophecy, blah 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 blah. Somehow they'll tie it into that. I'm assuming. I think that would be my best guess for what it would be, just because people typically historically don't always follow the stories of the villains. Maybe an anti-hero works, especially in the Star Wars case, but most of the time these stories end up being about the heroes, not so much about the villains.
I get that. That's why like a Darth Bane series would be perfect.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because then people could learn to understand. The instance that started, or I guess in television, according to Bryan Cranston, started the whole trend of, okay, now we like the villain as the main character, was Breaking Bad, because Vince Gilligan came to Bryan Cranston with the idea of this story is going to be about a bad guy, and Bryan Cranston immediately was like, this is going to work. Nobody cares about the bad guy. And he's like, no. You have to wait. He's going to turn bad over a long period of time. First, he's a good person, and then he starts to get bad, and then you'll understand
the things that affect what becomes a villain, what makes a villain.
Exactly. And it worked perfectly for that story. So if we could do that, I mean, there definitely is that in the Darth Bane trilogy as to how people could sympathize with a villain or whatever. So that there's definitely room on the table for those kind of stories, but they're probably going to stick to the Jedi thing because Jedi are what.
Yeah. It's what drives Disneyland.
Sympathize with. Yeah. They sympathize more with the Jedi when it comes to Star Wars. But the second movie that was announced was a Mandoverse movie directed by Dave Filoni. Now, this is supposed to tie up all of the current and I guess future, current Disney Plus shows. So it'll tie together Mandalorian. It'll tie together Ahsoka. It'll tie together, might even tie together Skeleton Crew. It'll tie together And Book of Boba Fett. All of that will be tied into this finale of the movie, which I'm excited for because Filoni's directing it, so it should have,
in theory, be really good.
Yes, because he's Lucas's apprentice. So that one I'm looking forward to, and then the third one that was announced that I'm most disappointed for because they said they were done with the Skywalker saga.
The new
clearly
Rey
they're
movie.
not.
Yeah.
The new movie takes place 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker. Daisy Ridley's coming back as a Jedi Master.
I don't mind that. I'll be the first one to say it. I don't mind that.
I am not interested in it whatsoever. I didn't like her character. I have no qualms with the actress. It's the character and the writing. It was terrible.
I liked her character before they started retconning everything and changing things to make it kind of what it became. I don't know what the original version or original story of her was going to be, but I did not like the fact that they circled back around with the whole, the whole thing at the end of Rise of Skywalker. I feel like it has potential because it's allowing them to create a brand new story that doesn't have to revolve around the original sets of movies.
No, but yeah, I'd love to have that, which is why I like the first, which is the Dawn of the Force is the first one to do that. This continuation is still tied to Skywalker because she claims herself as a Skywalker.
She does,
and she's a part of the universe.
But the whole Skywalker drama has revolved basically around Palpatine and Anakin, or in the Skywalker clan, I guess you could call it.
Yeah,
for the whole
story.
Span of the series of the movies. At this point, you have a way to kind of, sure, a Skywalker's still involved in that sense, but you're able to kind of tell these stories of a new age, a new generation of Jedi and or Sith that you can actually be creative with. Have this creative story where you go in and create new characters for people who maybe are not willing to go back and watch all these other ones that also aren't happy with how the sequels turned out. It gives you the building blocks and the foundation to create something new, which is what I think a lot of the Star Wars series needs, because it's sitting so hard in this stale zone of, we rely on this kind of 3-point system where it's like we rely on these whiny heroes that turn into like, they get to this point of their like conflict of interest to, I'm a good guy.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. That is the Star Wars formula.
Yeah.
It is, let's have a whiny ass character. People hate them. And then after a while, they grow to love them, because that's how heroes are fucking made in the eyes of George Lucas, apparently.
I mean, he makes a good point. It worked for the first series.
It worked for Luke, it worked for Anakin, and it worked for Ahsoka. Especially worked for Ahsoka. I fucking hated her when she was first introduced, and then I'm like, okay, and it worked for Ezra Bridger too. I hated them all initially. Actually, no, I didn't hate Luke initially. I didn't have a problem with it. But he was a whiny fuck.
Yeah.
And whenever people are like, this Anakin's too whiny, I'm like, his son is whiny.
Like father,
like son. Yeah. And Anakin's apprentice is fucking whiny too. So there is that.
Ben Skywalker was whiny too.
He was a terrible fucking character. I hated Kylo Ren, and people were like, oh, I love him. I'm like, why? His main objective was, I want to get strong like my grandpa Darth Vader, because I'm an emo ass teenager for whatever reason. How did Vader wanted to be powerful so he could save Padme and keep her alive and make sure nothing happens to her? Kylo's MO, I want to be powerful. Why? Why do you have the desire to be? You don't have any conviction behind it. Why? Because Luke almost killed you because you were touching the dark side through your dreams or whatever. Like, come on, fucking grow up. And then I personally don't like Rey because, yes, she's a Mary Sue. And if you think about it in terms of training, all the other all the other MCs, Anakin, how many years did he spend training? He went from being, a 10-year-old or whatever, and he spent like 12, 15 years training to get as good as he is to be the chosen one. Luke spent 4 fucking years training with the Grand Master of all Jedi on becoming a Jedi Knight. And even then, he wasn't a Jedi Knight until he defeated his father, according to Yoda's statements. And how long did it take Rey to get to how good she is? It took her close to a year. And she was able to
only a year? Abilities.
Yeah, there wasn't that many years that took place between Force Awakens, like the end of Force Awakens when she meets Luke, and The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. There was hardly any of that. It wasn't, yeah. And at the same time, Leia wasn't the best teacher either, because she gave up mid-training to go lead, the resistance and whatever, to be a general. Because technically that's what she does in the expanding universe anyway. She's trained and then she drops the Jedi training to go be a leader in the Rebel Alliance or whatever. And she doesn't follow the path of the Jedi. So that's where they pulled that story from. But again, Rey didn't have that much training, which explains why she's shitty at lightsaber combat, because they didn't have the nice training of the prequels. And Kylo, I don't know what kind of training he's had, but he's also terrible. So that's why I don't like Rey. She's too powerful because she's a Palpatine. Like I don't care that she's a clone of Palpatine, because
that was a cop out. I agree. That was a whole big old thing that I didn't like about it. They could have made her a lot more interesting than that.
At least with Mando and at least with Bad Batch, they are fixing the plot hole of Rey being a Palpatine, in the sense of they're putting emphasis on the cloning aspect for two reasons. Palpatine wants an extra body so he can continue being alive and ruling. And two, he's trying to create Rey because Rey was created by one of his defective clones that banged some random lady and created Rey.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. They're all fingers are pointed towards that outcome, which I'm fine, because it fills in that plot hole of where the hell he came from. It still won't make me appreciate the sequels.
No. I mean, the sequels weren't done perfectly. The characters, they had the building blocks. They had the things they needed to make a really good story out of it. And there are plenty of different ways that, subjectively everyone could say, or I guess subjectively, you could say like, oh, it would have been better this way. It would have been better that way. But at the end of the day, they had what they needed, and they couldn't capitalize off of making characters interesting. Like Finn and Oscar, Jonathan Boyega and Oscar Isaac's characters were good. They were good characters. I actually cared about their characters to some extent. Too. But then you have like the way that there's this strange forced relationship between Finn and Rey and Kylo, and just
I hated that. Like, what the fuck is this shit?
It felt very pushy. It felt very much like, oh, we have to make this part of it because there's a romance in every one of in the series. Like, we have to have one here.
Yeah,
they could have easily just foregone that and focused on telling the story of like the end of the line of Skywalkers in a sense. And they still could have done what they wanted to do with Rey taking up the Skywalker name like she does, by just having them do that without her having to be so closely related to the problem.
Yeah. There's one thing I would have requested that every fan would have requested in the sequels that would have made them a little bit more bearable and had one more point to the scale out of 10 to make it a better movie, or any of them a better movie. It was to have Luke, Leia, and Han on screen together one last time. They couldn't even fucking manage that before Carrie Fisher died. It's like, how hard was it for you? You were banking on nostalgia. You literally retold A New Hope with better technology, and you couldn't get all three of them on screen one last time. What the fuck were you doing, J.J. Abrams?
It's
stupid.
To be fair, like, again, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that normal consumers wouldn't see. There's scheduling conflicts, contracts that you have to get through to the agents, to the actors, and agreeances upon those contracts, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And it depends on how much Disney felt like spending on a series. So,
I get that.
There's definitely a lot of stuff. They could have done it. There must have been a way to make it happen, but...
Well, there probably was, but Kathleen Kennedy definitely just intervened. Like, no, we're going to tell it this way.
To be fair, I guess the way that they wanted to tell the story was they wanted it separate and independent of that getting all three of them together. So it gives you more of that feeling that there is a fallout. Like that actually made me feel like, yeah, there's been some fallout with the old like resistance people. Yeah, sure. Leia's out there still fighting the good fight. Han really doesn't give two shits. He's doing his Han thing, and then Luke is having his fucking crybaby Luke moment.
Yeah, I hated that character.
That was the thing that killed me the most, is that I expected him to be a real Jedi Master, and maybe not being his 20-something-year-old self hiding out on a planet like that.
Yeah.
That's the part that I was just like, come on, dude. He did what he had to do to become a master. He went through the master thing, and then this one little incident.
Oh yeah,
causes him to go be like.
It wasn't even that bad an instance. It's like, oh, I almost killed my apprentice for for him not controlling his anger. Like, do better. That's what you're supposed to do. You're a master.
Yeah.
Do better. You fucking Yoda trained hundreds of thousands of Jedi over his 900-year lifespan. Do you think he fucking gave up? He only gave up because Sidious played his trump card and obliterated the Jedi, and he realized we fucked up. But that was after many, many years of training incredible Jedi.
Yeah.
And Luke was a badass in the original trilogy. He was a badass in The Mandalorian. They could have projected that.
I was going to say,
the sequel trilogy, but
even in Return of the Jedi, you saw that he had some form of like control. Like he had that cool collectedness that a typical Jedi Knight of what you would expect during High Republic times, or not High Republic, Rise of the Empire times to have.
Yeah.
Like that, that last section of Jedi Council, like that, he had the makings of those kinds of masters.
Yeah, too many people. I've argued with several people that are like, that's, Luke is okay being that way in the movies. I'm like, no, he isn't, because again, Luke wouldn't give up that easily. The Luke that we know and love. He didn't give up on trying to save his father,
who was
the most
actively trying to kill him all the time.
Yeah. So why would he just give up on his fucking grandson, on Vader's grandson? Like, why would he just give up because he almost killed him? You're dealing with one of the most powerful Sith Lords in history, and you're trying to convert him back to the light side because of your father. But this is your nephew, and you can't fucking fix him. Come on, man. Do better, Luke.
So
fucking Rian Johnson.
Again, coming back to, aside from the sequels themselves, coming back to the whole starting a new series with Rey, I have a new hope in this series. And I hope that it won't just be a retelling of the same fucking 3 movies we've seen 3 times.
Yeah.
I would really appreciate if Disney and Lucasfilm actually actively works to making a unique, brand new story that doesn't have to revolve around this like Shadows of Old trilogy.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And again, Rey's not a terrible character. Daisy Ridley is a good actor. She's not a terrible character. There's ways to fix her as they move forward. The thing they have to do the most is find a way to take Rey's character out of the front light. She has to be that Yoda analog in a sense.
Yeah, she's going to have to be, because one of the things I didn't like about her the most was she spent the entire fucking sequel trying to figure out who she was. Like, okay, we get it for the first movie, trying to figure out who you are, and then you just carry it on the entire fucking time just to find out you're a partial clone of Palpatine. It's like, okay, we don't care. Develop a different story arc. Anakin, Ahsoka, Ezra, and fucking Luke didn't have the qualm of, who am I? Where did I come from? Yes, they all lost their parents or some shit happened, but they moved the fuck on. The whole point, I hate that was the driving force of her story arc. It just doesn't work, especially if it carries over for 3 movies. Like, close that shit up in the first movie. Move on. Try to learn how to be an actual Jedi, not who am I the whole fucking time. So she needs to stay in the background. I hope she is. I hope she's not the central focus. That would be nice.
I feel like she will have to be part of the central focus in the first one, but it is definitely that she has to play that tertiary character to the main protagonist.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if they bust another Obi-Wan fucking fighting Darth Vader on the Death Star at the end of that movie, I'm gonna be so mad because it's just like, dude, we saw this coming years before you even made the movie. Please, 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 just try something new. Try something new, because if anything, at the end of the day, people are going to be happier that you tried to do something new and creative than you trying to copy something that was great and making something that is not that great out of it.
Yes. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But digressing that, going back to the figures, I forgot to mention the Bad Batch Season 2 figures also got released, and they look fucking fantastic. So that's another $150 out of my wallet because I need to buy all 6 of them. Well, 5 are the Bad Batch. The other one is a Commando. But still, I can't wait to fucking buy that shit either. That's going to be super duper fantastic and whatnot. And I actually saw a leaked trailer of the Acolyte, which would be interesting. And for listeners that don't know what the little backstory is of the Acolyte takes place 100 years before the Phantom Menace. The entire plot is, everything's all hunky-dory, but then the Jedi at the time, they sense a big danger coming out of nowhere during this incredible time of peace and whatnot. Nobody knows what it could be because technically the Sith aren't around, according to the Jedi. So my theory is Darth Plagueis will make an appearance here, and we'll see a younger version of Sheev Palpatine. Yes, learning, or at least glimpses of the puppet mastery at work or whatever, which is great because I would love to see a live action version of Darth Plagueis. We can finally see this guy that he's talked about in the fucking 3rd movie. It'll be great. So I'm excited for that. And the Skeleton Crew one, which is aimed for children, but I'm still going to watch it. It has Jude Law. It's basically like Skeleton Crew. You have 10 kids plus 1 adult trying to navigate in space on a derelict spaceship. That's all we have in terms of story. So they have to work together as a skeleton crew, basically, to keep themselves alive while they're in some part of the Star Wars universe. And I don't know how that's going to tie into the rest of the stories and whatnot, but I'm excited either way for more Star Wars.
Raise one of the kids.
Itself. That'd be weird. I'd rather not.
No. Oh man, I did see something actually Star Wars related the other day. There's this post about what's it called? Oh, shit. I don't remember if it's Black Star virus, but something about that. It's an old Star Wars book about this Imperial ship that was like overcome by this like nasty virus that like fucked up all
the Death Trooper book. Yeah, the zombies.
Yeah, I saw a little thing of that on Instagram the other day, and I was like, "Oh, that looks fucking insane." And I was like, "That sounds like that would be a really fucking cool story to put into Star Wars. Something that's
so rated R.
It would, but it would be something that's off the beaten path of what they're used to, off the that creative hunk of bullshit that they're stuck on.
Yes,
that would be really fun.
I totally agree. That's a book. I need to read the little. I'm trying to think. I think the virus was created by the Empire, and it was man-made, and it backfired, and it ended up killing the Star Destroyer, and infecting all the stormtroopers with the zombie virus. So, yeah, that's all I know about that story without spoiling it too much for people. That alone looks really cool because I remember seeing a couple of those cosplays at Celebration.
Oh, cool!
Last year, which was cool. There were stormtroopers that had broken helmets, walking like zombies with blood splatters and blood painted on their helmets like that.
Nice.
And I was like, this is really cool. These are the Death Troopers. They're awesome, even though technically,
non-canon
Death Troopers mean something else. Well, they're not canon. I don't know if they're canon at all.
I thought they were. I thought it was a story about what do you call it?
No, the term Death Trooper is different. The Death Troopers are like they're the ones in Rogue One. They're the ones that wear all black that have the green dots on their helmet, the lights on their helmet. But if there was a story I'd love to see canon, it would be the Dark Apprentice No, not Dark Apprentice, the Dark Disciple book of Quinlan Vos and Asajj Ventress, because they have a love story. And Quinlan Vos is trying to help Asajj Ventress pull away from Count Dooku. And in the process, Quinlan falls to the dark side under Dooku. And then he manages to come back to the light side, which has never happened because people are like, Yoda's like, once you fall, you can't come back. Well, canonically, in this book, he was able to come back to the light side and be a Jedi Master again.
Didn't Revan do that though?
Yes, but he's not canon.
Is he not?
Boss is canon. Nope, just his name. As his name is used in Rise of Skywalker as one of the Star Destroyers. That's it. He would have been canon in Clone Wars, but Lucas decided to cut him out of one of the episodes of the Mortis arc because
the one where they go and visit that temple and see all the holocrons and all that stuff and talk to old masters.
No, the Mortis arc is the one where Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka get transported to some different plane of reality while still being in the Star Wars universe, and they talk to the father, the son, and the daughter, which they are physical embodiments of the Force. The son is the physical embodiment of the dark side. The father is a mixture of both, and the daughter is the light side. And in the cut scene, you have the son is the only person canonically who could use red Force lightning. There's not been a single person in the entire series who could do that. Which nobody knows what the meaning of the color is. But anyway, the cut scene basically shows the son falling apart because he can't have what he wants because he wants to rule the galaxy, and he goes to seek help from old masters, being Darth Revan and Darth Bane are actually present there. But he cut that out because it wouldn't fit into the story properly, and I can see why. It wouldn't make any sense for him to go speak to old masters for help if he is the physical embodiment of the dark side. So he's strong. To tie into how powerful he is, there was a what if comic, I think it was called Clone Wars number 7, where the son corrupts Anakin to the point where Anakin embraces his dark side fully because the son has the power to corrupt people. And they go to Coruscant. Palpatine senses his arrival, makes an alliance with Yoda, fights the son and Anakin, and they both die, thus leaving the son and Anakin to rule the galaxy however they please. But that never came to fruition because Anakin didn't give in to the dark side on that planet, and they ended up killing the son anyway. But the point is, with that whole series was that whole arc was quite interesting. It really put a different spin on how you view the Force and whatnot. But where was I going with this? Why did I forgot why I brought up the Mortis arc.
I actually don't recall either.
I forgot. Well, there goes my fucking train of thought. It just keeps escaping me. I think I was talking about some other shit. Yeah, I don't remember where. I don't know where my brain went. What the fuck just happened?
I think we were just talking about. Oh, we were talking about how Revan isn't canon.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't fit. Also, because the Sith don't have Force ghosts, so why the fuck would he be able to talk to him? But in Clone Wars season 6, Yoda spoke to the Force ghost that was tied to the tomb of Darth Bane, the revamped Darth Bane with the ugly samurai armor. He talked to him, so then it's like, okay, maybe the Sith can still stay alive in a certain way.
I mean, I would assume they could. Because if one side, if the dark side and the light side are both two separate sides of the same coin, you have to assume that there is some sort of there's some sort of like mirror to it. It's not necessarily one for one. Like, I can force stasis, but I can force grip. It's basically the same kind of. Do you follow what I'm trying to say? Like, it's the same kind of effective thing. It's just force stasis forces that full body stop in a pacifist way. Force chokes the shit out of you, but you're definitely stopped. So like there has to be at some branch on it, a Force ghost should eventually equal a Sith wraith or something like that.
according to the internet, according to Wikipedia, which is always on point when it comes to facts, they Bane, that wasn't actually Darth Bane in the Clone Wars. That was an illusion. So that's an illusion created by Darth Bane to be tied to his tomb. He's not, his essence isn't actually there versus a Force Ghost, because the Force Ghosts was discovered by Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon was able to teach Yoda how to become a Force Ghost, as well as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because before that, Yoda didn't know. That's why Yoda went to Dagobah in season 6, was to listen to Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon was teaching him, is like, I know how to extend your life and bind your essence to the Force here in this plane of reality. So, because Qui-Gon was the first one to discover that because of his knowledge with the living Force. Sith cannot do that. Even as powerful as Palpatine was, he wasn't a Force Ghost. He just transferred his consciousness from his exploding body to a clone during, Return of the Jedi or whatever.
There could be, to some extent, a way for them to do it too. It just takes time.
No.
I would think so. I would think just off of it, just that if one person can do it, so can another. And but there has to be a way to tie that kind of same essence to the Force, essentially.
They probably won't, because they're pushing, because it pushes it pushes the side of only good guys can do this. So if you want to live forever, you have to be a good guy. Bad guys have to suffer. Once you're dead, you're dead. Well, I mean, the only recollection of you is either you put part of yourself in a holocron or you tied an illusion of your essence to an object somewhere else. But
I was going to say, like, even a Force Ghost cannot physically affect the world, though, right? They're just there to be there.
No, they can. Remember Yoda burned down the tree in Last Jedi.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, he was there and he flicked his wrist or whatever, and it set the tree on fire. And Luke's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "We don't need that." It's like, forget the old Jedi texts and whatever. Just move on and be different and shit. I only saw that movie once, so
I don't even remember that part of the movie. To be fair,
but they can interact. I mean, they're speaking to people that are alive. That's interaction enough to be talking to somebody.
Okay, here. How about this? Would you also say then that Yoda is of a power level that higher than Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan or Anakin, or maybe not Anakin, but at least above the rest of them, to be able to find a way to make it happen? Because it wasn't like he did anything more than start the fire. He couldn't, because if he wanted to, he could have done a big show of power and just fucking black holed the whole tree.
There's no force ability called black hole, but
you know still, what I mean.
But he died. He was his prime had already passed. Prime Yoda could probably do that, but as a Force Ghost, you're pretty much limited to how much of your essence you leave behind.
Yeah,
which isn't a lot. It's just enough to guide people. And
exactly. So that's why I'm saying, like, a Force Ghost really can't affect too much by living forever, other than being able to influence people by the way that they talk.
Yeah,
or at least give what's the word? Counsel, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean because that's a different part of the Force too. There's the cosmic, which is the one that everyone sees, that you move stuff with your mind and whatever and create lightning. That's cosmic. And then you have the living Force, which is literally the living, breathing entity that lives through all beings in the galaxy, and allows for Jedi to pass on as a Force Ghost.
Jedi for now.
Jedi passing as a Force Ghost, depending on how well they've done in life and whatnot. So lots of Star Wars news this weekend. Today's the last day. I'm trying to check right now if there's any new updates.
Is there not like a live stream you can watch for it?
There is, but
obviously
they always cut around to shit on YouTube, and which is annoying.
I mean, if you're not there, you shouldn't be able to see all of the nifty hidden things that only on-site viewers can see. Yes.
Well, yeah, I wish I was in London, but we had this discussion before. I'm not going to fly across the world just so I can go to one fucking convention. If I'm flying across the world,
that sounds fucking awesome. I don't know what's wrong with you.
If I'm going to go to London, I'm there to see the sights. I'm not there to hang out at a Star Wars convention.
I am absolutely 100% down to go to London just to go to a convention.
You're a noob. But
I would obviously take extra days to be able to do the other stuff as well. That way I could enjoy it. But I absolutely would love to go just for the convention there. Why not? It's a new town. It's just like we were saying before,
it's just
moving
a convention.
it around.
Because it's a convention in buildings. That can happen anywhere. You don't have Big Ben in America. You don't have London Bridge in fucking America. That's what you go there for. That's what you should design your trip for. Going there for the convention, that's just more money for something that you could do here in 3 years when it comes back to, or in the next year when it comes back to America.
That's true, but
just do that.
While you make a fairly valid point, you still could go and experience something somewhere else than here.
Yeah, but I'm not going to experience a convention in another country when it happens here. I would do it in another state, but not another country.
You need to get more adventurous there, buddy.
Shut the fuck up. I need money for that. Now, going on to another Star Wars release, Tales of the Jedi is getting a second season. If people haven't watched that, you need to watch it because the first season, without spoiling much, really it centers around two. It centers around two big characters. It centers around Ahsoka. It fills in some plot holes that didn't really need filling, but it was interesting to learn. And it centers around Count Dooku. People will, once you see Count Dooku's story, you'll understand his character entirely. And these are very short episodes. There are only 6. And after seeing it, I'm like, okay, now I understand why Dooku is the way he is, and I can sympathize with him. And I like him more for this little backstory, and it makes me hate the Jedi more. And that's all I can say about that. So season 2 would be great to have the Quinlan Vos story tied to it. So I'm very excited for that, as well as give me 1 second. I'm trying to find where the fuck it was on my phone. Jedi Survivor. Star Wars Jedi Survivor had a new gameplay trailer that released this week. Now we're talking about video games. I'm fucking thrilled, and I'm going to buy it on launch because that's what I do with Star Wars games. I can't fucking wait.
You're actually buying a game when it launches.
I only do that for special games. So for this year, it'll be Diablo 4. It'll be Jedi Survivor. And I think there's one more game on PC I would buy on launch for this year. But anyway, point is, I'm excited because I wonder if we'll see Kenobi, because this takes place around the same time Kenobi does. So 5 years BBY, and also takes place, actually no, it's 10 years BBY. Anyway, point is, it takes place at the same time, so I'm wondering if we'll see that cameo. The story looks really good. Cal Kestis has really matured as a character, and I really like him.
Have you not seen any of the preview stuff that's been going around this last week?
I'm trying to hide myself because a lot of people have been showing the customization. I'd rather be surprised by that. So I just stick to the trailers. I try to avoid all the spoilers for game-related stuff.
It's really not a spoiler, but I won't say anything then. I was going to talk more about it, but
yeah, no, I won't. When it comes to Star Wars, no spoilies.
Bro, there's literally not a spoiler. A spoiler would be like saying like,
well, say what it is. Say what it is.
It's customization stuff. That's all it is. It's all decorative. It's all.
I didn't want to look at it. That's what
there's nothing. There's literally nothing to there. It's a reason to be excited for the game more so. Just because you know that the options to be more decorative now are available. Instead of being how original Fallen Order was, where you literally got to change the color of your poncho and what poncho it was.
Ponchos are life.
Ponchos. It was boring. It was very, very droll. The game itself and the combat was super fun. It was very intensive. But this game looks to be a lot more of a masterful kind of
yeah.
You get a slower combat pace. You're not jumping around like a crackhead with a lightsaber. You're moving with intent. You're moving with actual like experience after years of Cal being a rebel in this sense. On top of that, you get these customizations that are really fucking cool. You want to look like Han Solo? Go ahead. You can look like Han Solo. You know, like you get vests, you get jackets, you can change his hair. There's multiple different hairstyles. There's all sorts of different things that can make your Cal feel unique to you as you want it to.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's funny is Cameron Monaghan, he came out on the celebration stage on his video, and he's like, I'm not really supposed to be here, guys, but I came out here to address the one thing that was in the first game that I hope is in the second game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's messing with the fans and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like the combat is great, the story is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really want to know, because I think the creator of the game was there, he's like, what I really want to know is, does it have ponchos? And he came out with a black poncho and he left the stage by throwing it to a fan too.
That's cool.
That's awesome. But yeah, he went with the whole joke of that because I know everybody loved wearing the pink poncho in the fucking game.
I mean,
running around
because it was the one thing
pink.
that made it fun. Like it was the only poncho that was cool. The rest of it was all the same thing, and you either chose to have the poncho or not have the poncho. There was no actual decoration to what your character looked like other than that. And even BT didn't have anything on him either. Now you can upgrade and change how BT looks, like the actual build of the droid to customize your BT to be exactly how you want it to be, which is super fucking cool.
It's BD1.
Yeah, I'm just calling him BT.
BT.
Oh, BD. My bad.
BD1. Yeah. No, it's not.
Doesn't matter.
It's a different letter.
Doesn't matter. Look, the point is you can customize him. That's all that matters.
But yeah, so I'm excited for that, and I'm excited, for the crossguard lightsaber combat reminds me of the Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy fighting styles, because according to the story in those games, Luke created the new Jedi Order in there in the expanded universe, and he refined the 7 lightsaber styles into 3. You have fast, medium, and strong. And so when I see the crossguard lightsaber, it really reminds me of how when you would use the strong lightsaber style, you would swing it really slowly and it would hit really hard in terms of attacking your enemies, but you had to be really cautious and careful of how to do that, because that's essentially how you have to be when you're swinging something like a claymore, which is what the crossguard lightsaber is sort of emulating in the game, is a fucking claymore. You can't just go in there willy-nilly waving it around like a glow stick. To
be fair, they shouldn't have weight anyways, so
no, they shouldn't, but they do it for cinematic quality, because it's not, if you just had like that in real life, people would just be doing this the whole time, and that's not really cool for fighting style.
I don't know if I'm sure Blackout or whatever, but without ruining the surprise of what the others are, because I'm sure you already know that the 3 styles of fighting that's going to be in there included. There's 2 extra styles that are actually really fucking cool, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be playing one for sure, like all the way through. Wait, have you heard?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you already know about the single blaster, single lightsaber style. I can't fucking wait, dude. It's going to be so much fun. I'm just going to be cosplaying Kirito in a Star Wars game.
What the fuck? No.
You know how cool Sword Art Online made using a sword and a gun at the same time look? They made it look fucking intense as fuck.
Guns in Sword Art Online.
Yes, in the second season, in the very first.
That's not Sword Art Online though.
Whatever, gun game online.
Yeah, that's not even the same game. The series, oh my god!
In the series name is Sword Art. So in the second season of Sword Art, you use a gun and a sword, and it looked really fucking cool. So I'm really hoping that it's going to be something similar to that. Something fluid and at the same time like accurate and deadly.
That's why I like Ezra's lightsaber. His custom lightsaber literally had a stun gun built into the handle, so he could just shoot clone troopers, and then if he didn't want to shoot them, he would just ignite the lightsaber and just start fighting them. So that if you can combine different styles with swordplay, that's fucking cool. Because it's more. That's more realistic. Because if you're just fighting over here and some guy's coming up and you're busy blocking, you could just go bam and you take care of them.
Exactly.
That's a more resourceful way of fighting. It
should be an interesting way to attack the game, given that we only had the 2 styles prior. Moving into this 3 or this 5 style system with only being able to wield 2 styles at a time and having to switch at meditation points on the ship, et cetera, it should actually open up for the game being a lot more fluid in the way that you want to combat things, because I would imagine that there are multiple ways to attack. Certain enemies had to be fought with a dual saber because it worked. Certain enemies needed the single saber because it was best. Now you've got choices, so there must be different avenues, different paths you can take in combat to make up for the fact that you're not using a staff saber, make up for the fact that you're not dual wielding lightsabers or using the blaster, et cetera. So I'm super excited gameplay mechanic wise to see how that plays, because none of the preview people got to touch the blaster and saber style.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get to play with it much. They got cross saber, but they didn't get it, the blaster one. So
Unfortunately, the only downside to the game is the whopping 155 gigabyte size download that's required. That's
must suck to be a PC
annoying
user.
Yeah, I had to delete a lot of shit to get it off my hard drive that I don't play anymore, but that's okay. Speaking of but anywho, that's basically all I
watch your game not work for the first 3 patches.
Dude, I'm gonna be so fucking upset.
I'm telling you, dude.
Fuck? But anyway,
I get going back to that conversation we had in the middle of the week about PCs and consoles being mid PCs. I understand where you're coming from. I get it. Boy. But at least my game works when I buy it on the first day.
Okay. Yeah. Last of Us remake.
Yeah. Last of Us remake had no problems on console as soon as we played it. Any game that came out on console works right away. There's maybe a few. The only thing I can think of in recent history was Cyberpunk, and Cyberpunk was a fucking trash heap on the day it came out on every platform.
Was Battlefield like that too? Because Battlefield is always too. PC first.
Battlefield 2042 was terrible when it first came out. Like the first 4 or 6 months, it was bad. But literally every other game, you guys always have problems when games come out.
Because that's how ports are. If it's developed for one system,
even the ports are going to be shitty. Even the ports coming to console. Because these games were designed not just only for PC, but they were designed also for console. It would be different if it was like in the Last of Us case where it's a port to the PC. That makes sense. But then you've got games like Cyberpunk, which is built for PC and for console. Battlefield, which is built for PC and for console. That they have independent teams working on this, and they're not porting it. You still have the problem of the first.
We need more companies.
Couple patches get fucked up. No, we don't. We need people to fucking focus.
We do.
The reason shit comes out all jacked up is like that. If you don't have the team to work on these separate projects all together.
That's what I'm saying. We need more companies to have split teams to perfect both versions. That way you don't have ports at all. You just have this team worked on the PC, this team worked on the consoles, and they should work fine. Then you eliminate the porting process.
Given that would be way better. You then lose exclusivity to a console.
Unfortunately, yes, that is true.
At the end of the day, needs to exist to make this community thrive, because it's the only thing that's pushing everyone else to do better is the fact that my console's better than yours.
Yes, but okay, that's not the driving force when it comes to. Like for me, when it comes to consoles, what's selling me more originally, yes, it is the exclusivity, but the other thing is the performance, because like we said before, PC, the performance is locked in. You don't have to worry so much about faulty graphical issues as you do on PC, because PC is a wider range, and there's a lot more room for fuck ups because the graphics are not locked in on PC.
Exactly. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it sucks, because then you've got to make sure that your graphical capabilities reach a certain point. That the dead give on console, besides the exclusivity, is the fact that we're at an age now where console can take that next step into better graphics. We're taking those steps into 120 frames per second, locked in at 60 frames on almost every title that comes out, no matter what, at the very bare minimum. Which, let's be fucking honest, 120 and 60 frames per second doesn't really look that much different to the naked eye.
No, it doesn't. Yeah,
it's literally just who's got the bigger balls in this situation. There's no
I never really
difference.
Cared about 120.
But like, given like we can't run 4K resolution at 60 frames per second perfectly still. At the end of the day, I can barely tell the difference between 4K resolution and 2K anyways.
Yeah, 2K. But you can tell the difference between 1080 for sure. But 2K, that's why when I get another monitor, I'm not going 4K. I don't need the 4K. 2K that looks great enough for me.
Yeah.
4K is like a super luxury.
Yeah, and it would be nice to have it, because 4K looks great for movies.
Oh,
watching television that's recorded in 4K, that looks great. The ray tracing, same thing. It's they're tiny, minuscule things that make the difference between these specific ecosystems, but we're all getting to that point where we're all basically playing in the same ecosystem.
Oh yeah,
when it comes to it graphically.
In my opinion, even for like future for like 8K, because I know people are going to want 8K. Ugh. The only thing I can see for gaming that would need 8K is Minecraft.
Bro, an 8K Minecraft game would just break everything. It's ridiculous.
The graphics out there are so hyper realistic.
I have seen it. I actually wanted to download Minecraft on my computer just so I could run like hyper realistic Minecraft stuff.
I want to do that too, because now I have a better PC and I haven't tried it yet.
Me neither, but I don't want to light my graphics card on fire as well. So,
but yeah. Speaking of games, Super Mario movie.
Oh yeah, let's go through that.
So before we start talking
ran a little
about
long
it,
on that Star Wars stuff.
I'm doing this so I can look at my hands in the editing.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler in case people haven't seen it because it just came out recently.
Yes. Okay.
So
yeah.
Now we're going to talk about it.
That's fair. I'm proud of you for doing that. That you're growing as a person, and that makes me.
It's
happy.
A movie, and it was only out for a week. So shush.
That makes me happy. If you don't want to watch the spoilers for this, we're going to talk a little bit about the Mario stuff.
Yeah.
You might want to skip on past this. I don't know if we have timestamps, but we don't.
We don't. Can I pee or no?
No. Let's get this through because we're running.
I have to pee though.
It's running a little long here.
Okay. Well, my thoughts. I thought it was a great movie. Like in terms of like video game movies, as of late, like Detective Pikachu, that was fantastic. I never played the game and I loved it. I thought this is how a Pokemon movie should be. You didn't know that?
There's a Detective Pikachu game?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's literally called Detective Pikachu, known in Japan as Great Detective Pikachu. Adventure game developed by Creatures Inc., published by Nintendo and Pokemon Company.
Oh, for the 3DS. Okay, that's why I didn't know about it. Got it.
Yeah. So, I win. But point is, that was the first out of the greats in terms of video games coming to life on the screen, being really, really cool. And then next that followed that, Sonic. I fucking love the Sonic movies. Absolutely. But comparing, because people ask me, they're like, what do you think about Super Mario Brothers movie versus Sonic? I love Sonic. I love the shit out of Sonic. It's fucking cool. But then I looked at this Mario movie and I'm like, shit, okay, I kind of like this better for a different reason.
Yes, exactly.
Sonic I like story-wise. I'm like, this is fucking cool. Yes. Then for my inner child, I like the Super Mario Brothers movie because I watch it and I'm like, I remember all of this shit growing up and they did such a great job making their world immersive because you're panning through and you're like, oh my God, there goes a herd of Yoshis.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there goes that fucking desert that looks very similar to the ones in, Super Mario World 3.
Super Mario game.
Yeah, that too. And then it's like, oh shit, there's all the Kongs. I'm like, I remember all the Kongs from the Donkey Kong Country games and whatever. Like, and it helps with the immersion because all these characters live there. They're all in the same
literal
fucking
world.
Universe.
Yeah.
It's not dealing with, okay, here's Mario with real live actors like Sonic. That's how Sonic is done.
Yeah.
That's not how Super Mario's done. I thought it was really good.
They found a way to take their own creative force onto it and actually make it work. Doing it through Illumination Studios gave them the power they needed to make an actual good animated film. And regardless of it being like a lot of people I know critic wise, like movie critics aren't giving it the best of ratings because it is just what it is. It is a kids movie. It's a video game kids movie. It's all about the nostalgia factor for it. So people like us who've played Super Mario since we were tiny childs, we love it because we see our whole childhood growing up through that movie. We're just like, oh, I remember this. I remember that. That's cool. This, that. Listen to that song. You heard that song? They played this song. Oh my God. Peach's Castle. Yeah, oh my God. This is great. It was a good run for us. And I think it's the best way that Nintendo could have opened up for building up this universe of their IPs in cinematics.
Yeah.
I hope that the Donkey Kong movie will be just as good as this. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I have faith now. After seeing this and knowing how well it went, I have faith that the movie can turn out to be exactly what we want it to be.
Or it'll be it'll be the funniest thing ever because of the best part of the movie was hearing fucking
Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong laugh is kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm like, what the fuck? They had to put that in there.
It was good. But they did a good job of building the characters and giving us a story.
Yes.
Like, it builds up this lore for the Super Mario world that we didn't have before.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know, like, a lot of the fucking any of the fucking lore. I didn't know I didn't know that Bowser. It was established, I think, in Super Mario Odyssey that or Galaxy, one of the two that my friends told me that he had an MO of marrying Peach.
Yeah,
so
that's why he's always kidnapping her.
Now it explains why. Because before it was like, why does he want Peach? He's not doing anything, and now it's like, oh. He actually has a fucking wedding suit and he wants to fucking marry this person. I loved
seeing them in the wedding suits because that's a great callback to Mario Odyssey.
Apparently,
it's so fucking cool. I was so happy to see Bowser in his wedding suit. It was so fucking dope.
That was neat.
It was great. And the Jack Black singing the songs was
that was so hilarious. Funny. And the fucking the Lumali, I had to Google what that thing was. The thing was so emo.
Dude, no. That thing was not emo. It was nihilistic. It was
very nihilistic.
Absolutely ready to die. It was so good. I thought, because we saw the Lumali, I thought we were going to be able to see Rosalina in this movie. So I was like, I was holding out hope for that post-credit scene and the mid-credit scene that Rosalina was going to show up and take her Lumali with her and be like, well, there you are. And that was going to open up the next series. I don't know where they're going to go for the second movie, but I know it's going to be freaking awesome.
Well, yeah, we're getting the fucking Yoshi in the next movie because the green egg is underneath Brooklyn. It's like, oh my God.
But I wonder how they're going to, I wonder what they're going to do for it, you know? Because now this cinematic universe has to have its own lore because according to Super Mario lore, the green Yoshi is what carried the baby everybody through the Mushroom Kingdom when they were kids and took care of them. The Yoshis took care of Mario, Luigi, and Peach. But how are they gonna swap it around this time? I'm just glad they didn't fucking go the 1993 route of a giant green raptor.
Oh God, that was terrible.
There was a million and one references in this movie that we probably should make a specific cast about just so we can gush on this movie. It doesn't even have to be a long one. It could be like a quick episode. I don't care. Yeah. But we'll draw back on that some other time. Point is, the movie was great. I'm really excited for this, and I hope that the series of Nintendo movies leads to a Super Smash Brothers movie, because if it doesn't, I might cry. Yeah. I might physically cry if it doesn't happen.
I'd cry too. I'm like, I want to see them all.
They did Smash Brother moves. Like in the end when they're fighting
the down
Luigi.
B?
Yes.
God, I was like the down smash or whatever.
Yeah, they did the spike smash or the spike shot. That
there you go. Yeah,
that little like overhead punch that Mario and Luigi do. Oh, it was so cool when I saw it.
And when I saw DK when he was fighting Mario in the fucking arena, I'm like, okay, these are Smash moves.
Oh yeah,
right fucking here. I love that shit. Yeah.
I was super happy. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a good time. It was a great movie. I'll definitely watch it again.
Me too.
But yeah, super psyched. I have super big hopes for the future of those series.
Me too. I also didn't know lore wise. I mean, I should have known because Koopas, you see them, they go in their shells, they come out. I didn't know that applied to the blue shell. That was cool when the blue shell guy was in his cart and he's like, he goes in his shell and he hits the leader. I'm like, what the fuck?
That was great.
That's cool.
The blue shell thing was a neat little lore ad that I enjoyed.
That was so cool.
Oh man, we could talk about this stuff forever, but we don't have forever, unfortunately.
No,
we only have the time that's given to us, and it's usually about an hour. But we ran it long today because it was really fun to talk about all of this, and we got stuck on Star Wars. You start talking about Star Wars, you're going to lose us easily.
Yeah, especially.
But if you're still here, thank you very much for tuning in. That's all we've got for today. I hope you guys enjoy your week. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the Star Wars news that's going to come out the rest of today on Sunday. This dude's got to go to the bathroom. But if you want to catch us, go ahead and go onto YouTube and search youtube.com/forthegeekspodcast. You can also find us on twitch.tv/forthegeeksgames. In the link tree at the bottom, you can find the links for all of our socials, For the Geeks with 2 S's on Instagram and on Twitter. You can find our Patreon if you want to join it. We're going to start posting more videos on it. I swear to God, don't think I'm not lying about that. And we'll start getting a little bit more varied content onto there. But for now, we're going to call it there. It's been a good time, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversations. If you got anything, leave it in the comments. If you don't, give us a like, subscribe, and a follow. And until next time, Sniffles will kiss you to sleep.
No, booby lips.